is Tampa Bay Tammy. Tune in to In Touch Radio.
Let's share something about ourselves.
Reality radio, where everyone is a star. In Touch Radio.
Happy Memorial Day weekend. We are here with you on this Memorial Day weekend, working for you. This is all for you. And it's going to be a fun-filled, our favorite subject, FAFSA. I am going to try to do my absolute best to address some of the myths that are occurring with FAFSA, making sure that I can try to encourage all of you out there to fill out the information so you don't miss out on millions and millions of dollars that's out there for federal funding. But first, I'm super happy, a super proud mom and wife. Can you see my picture, Bezel? We're about to put the picture up. And I have to say congratulations to the Saints. Number 1 in the Rise Flag Football League. My daughter plays in the league. My husband coaches the team. My best friend's kids are on the team and they coach too. I am so proud of the Saints in Tampa Bay for the Rise Football League. Now, guess what we found out? They are actually going to be headed to University of Maryland for the national championship. So yay to the Saints. I'm so excited for them. When they won last night, they didn't even realize they were going to be invited to the national championships. And yes, this is a girls flag football team. There are now national championships. And seeing as though my radio show is all about money and I'm College Cash, you know I'm going to bring up scholarships. Yes, there is scholarship money for girls flag football. Now, are they giving out full rides? Nah, probably hadn't gotten there yet. But if it's something that your daughter likes or that you think she might excel in, it's worth looking into. Now, for the school season, those are kind of short. So you're going to want to find some of the other seasons that are, some of the other teams that are out there, other leagues that are out there around town. So love the fact that the Saints won the Rise Girls Flag Football League. They are the number 1 ladies in their age group. So, okay, enough about me being a proud mom and a proud wife. Let's get back to you and finding that money. First off, always, first thing I mentioned, so important, fee waiver. Super duper easy. Log into your school districts, go into your school district's website, find out where you can sign up for free and reduced lunch. On your website for your school district, if you live in Hillsborough County, which I still don't understand why, there's a big stop sign. Ignore that. Look at it as a green light. If you are a senior, if you are an upcoming senior, so my junior families out there, if your students are going to be going into their senior year, please fill out the free and reduced lunch form, even if your school is already a free and reduced lunch site. That is so important because it gives you your 2 ACT waivers, it gives you your 2 SAT waivers, it gives you multiple waivers to apply to school. So super important, that fee waiver. Also, coming up, now it's closed for now. It doesn't open back up until I think around August, but you want to be able to fill out the Common App. We'll talk a lot more about that later on in the summer. School's out. I hope you know who your counselor is. Please tell me, out of the 12,000, how many shows do you think we did, Bezel? Good 15? I know some of them were reruns, but even if they were reruns, you did. Oh, like 20? That means I done told you 20 times to find out who your counselor is. So if you let school end, you know who your kids' counselors. All right. As I said, I ain't gonna lie. Miss Mortar. There we go. Because my daughter went from Roland Park, who is Miss Kennedy, and now she's going to Robinson IB, who is Miss Mortar. So I do remember the counselor too. I'm preaching to myself up here. I mean, you know, me and Bezel we're just really talking to each other and making sure we got our own kids straight. Figure we let you in on it too. All right, but we done told you like 20 times to figure out who the counselor is. The reason why you're going to need that counselor to send the transcripts. So, very, very, very important for my juniors who are moving on up to seniors. You should already know who your counselor is. If you don't, you need to call them before summer's out. All right, forwarding those test scores. None of that really matters right now. That'll be coming up later on in the school year. What does matter is prepping for the test. Summertime is a great time to study. I know you want to have fun in the sun, but just crack open a book here and there. Some SAT prep, some ACT prep, maybe some Khan Academy, a little something, something. Because when the school year starts, September, October time frame, you want to be able to already forward those test scores because they are already going to be good test scores, hopefully. And now to the word of the day. I call it my favorite F word. FAFSA. FAFSA. Now, I'm going to read this to you, and I think it is the most horrible stat there is out there when it comes to free money. So, your FAFSA is your Federal Application for Student Aid. Basically, it's the way to get free money for college. So listen to who all lost out on money for the 23-2024 academic school year. About $3.75 billion with a B, $3.75 billion in Pell Grants went unclaimed by just high school graduates. They didn't fill it out. They didn't fill out the FAFSA. 3.75. I can't even conceptualize like the number of zeros you need to even make a billion. I mean, I can kind of see how many you need for a million, but anyway, me and math, we're not that great. But I know that 3.75 billion is a lot of money and a lot of zeros. And a lot of you out there, maybe you graduated last year and you're still now, maybe it dawned on you, hey, you want to go to college. Well, you should have filled out the FAFSA. But guess what? You can still fill it out now as well. That's what my show is going to be talking about today, really dispelling a lot of the myths about the FAFSA because you are able to still fill it out. But I don't want to get off on a tangent just yet. Okay, so remember, the unclaimed financial aid could cover a substantial portion of college expenses for many students. This is the reason why not filling out the FAFSA is not a good thing. So keep in mind, there are a lot of constraints. There are a lot of different situations. The FAFSA has a lot of different outcomes. But the thing is, you will never know if you're going to get the money if you don't fill the thing out. So we are going to now click. Let me click on my little link here and show this page. And I'm going to continue to repeat myself over and over and over again for this next. Me and Belza, we're not going to go a whole hour today. It is Memorial Day weekend, so we're going to do about 30 minutes. That's about it. All right, but again, don't miss out on the federal Pell Grant. I am reading to you from the studentaid.gov page. If you're out there and you're like, okay, I'm going to fill the thing out. How do I do it? You literally can just Google FAFSA.gov and the correct site should come up. It's going to be called the studentaid.gov, but as long as you put in the letters, you are going to the correct page. You do want to make sure that it ends in a .gov, though, to make sure that you're not on like some weird scam site. But let's go through what is a Pell Grant, because perhaps you don't know, which is perfectly fine. I want you to understand that the federal Pell Grant is a type of grant that provides funds to help pay for school. That's simple. Pell Grants are typically awarded to undergraduate students who display exceptional financial need. Unlike federal student loans, Pell Grants do not have to be paid back except under certain circumstances, but we won't really get into that. For the most part, if you get the Pell Grant, you don't have to pay it back. Now, if you get the thing and I don't even know. But for the most part, if you get the Pell Grant, you register for classes, you stay in classes, you go to school, then you will be able to use that Pell Grant to help pay for your college education. All right, so now keep in mind, too, that the Pell Grant can be used for college or universities, career schools, or trade schools. So even if you're going to go, you want to go and learn how to become a barber, as long as you're going to an accredited institution for barbering or for welding or for cabinet making or for nursing, all sorts of different things. Just make sure you're going to an accredited place and they should take your Pell Grant. Big hint here, if you ask the place that you're thinking about going to, if they take the Pell Grant and they say no, you probably don't want to go there. Just saying, okay? So, all right, let's get back to reading here. I am going to be doing a lot of reading today, which is hilarious because I forgot my glasses. So we're going to get through this together. Okay, let's see. Millions of Pell Grants are awarded each year to eligible student graduates who submit, again, the free application for federal student aid. Free money, free application, free for you to get it if you fill it out. Now, this isn't new. Pell Grants have been around for like 50-something years. The program started in like 1972. Millions and millions of dollars have been given out. Now, here's the thing. There's this thing called the FAFSA Simplification Act, and it's not that simple. But that's okay, because as we get through this rocky start with this new application, a lot more people are going to qualify for the Pell Grant. So it's a little bit hard right now because it's a new system, but it is going to give so many of you so much more money. Starting in the 2024-25 award year, an estimated 610,000 new students, 610,000 people will be eligible for a federal Pell Grant. So that's also, oh, now this is really big. An additional 1.5 million students will be eligible to receive the full Pell Grant award. So that's like $7,300. $7,300. Meaning, if you're going to community college, some of your technical schools, some of your trade schools, it's going to cover that tuition. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, okay, I graduated, what am I going to do? Maybe I should go to school. Get up right now, fill out that application, not only for the school, but also for financial aid, because chances are, depending on your income level, you may qualify for the FAFSA. I'm going to go through some situations here and show you how much certain people in certain situations, different family sizes, different ages, different, situations going on in their life, but show you how they did still qualify for the FAFSA. So understanding the new form, the new laws, what is happening, they didn't just change the form just to be difficult. They changed everything because they changed the way that people will be able to get money. So 610,000 people who would not have been able to get any money last year will now be able to get some money this year. 1.5 million students who may have gotten a little bit of money last year will now be eligible to get the full Pell Grant, that full $7,300, and that's per school year. So you're going to get half of it in the fall, the other half in the spring, and you're looking at being able to cover a lot of your cost. All right, so let's see. Oh, we're talking right here about how much money can we get? There it is right there. The maximum federal Pell Grant award amount for the 2024 award year, $7,395. Why don't you Google right now, how much is Hillsborough Community College? Google, how much does tuition cost for St. Pete College? Google, how much is your community college in the local place where you live? Because chances are this Pell Grant could cover it if you're eligible for the full thing. So let's see what else this says. It says some students may be able to receive up to 150% of their yearly Pell Grant award if they attend an additional school term. This is even crazier. So this is called a year-round Pell. For example, if you were awarded a $3,000 Pell Grant, you'd likely receive $1,500 in both your fall and spring semesters, but you may qualify for another Pell Grant of up to $1,500 if you enroll at least half-time during the summer semester. Okay, yeah, all that's a little confusing. Who cares? Fill the thing out, see what money you get. This is really not rocket science. It's kind of like what the coaches told the girls last night for the flag football team. This does not have to be difficult. Catch the ball, pull the flags. That's about it. Uh-oh, what are you showing me? It says, oh, you Googled it? Okay, this is for what? HCC? Yep, Hillsborough Community College. He would show me something when I don't have my glasses on today. No, I can see it. Let me see. Okay, so in order to go to Hillsborough Community College, you're looking at $2,506 for tuition, and then another $1,300 or so for books, and then for housing. But the thing that the Pell Grant pays is your tuition portion. And so, look, if you're getting the full Pell Grant at $3,500 per semester, you've got enough. You've got enough for the tuition. You've got enough for the books. I mean, it's really not. It's not rocket science. Get up right now. Google the letters FAFSA, FAFSA, and just see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to go through, what you're going to need to be able to actually submit the thing, because it does take a little bit of effort. I mean, you're not going to just get $7,300 and you ain't got to do nothing but sign your name. It's some things you do have to do. But I wanted to take you through these people who were able to get, these are just kind of examples of folks. How much federal Pell Grant money will these students receive? Okay, Bezel, are we looking at my screen right now? Yep. All right, so the first person we're looking at is Taylor. Now, she is a first-year student in Maryland. These are made-up people, but, they look good. We're going to use them to explain things. She's not married. She doesn't have any dependents. She has a household of 2 with divorced parents. So her dad has an annual income of around $30,000 and $10,000 in assets. And her mom doesn't provide financial support. So she's getting that full Pell Grant. So basically, it sounds like you're in a household with 1 parent and 1 child. So you're looking at using that annual income of $30,000. You're going to get the full Pell Grant. All right, next case, because maybe you're thinking, well, we make way more than $30,000. Okay, let's look at Jonathan. And Jonathan is a junior in college, which, by the way, I'm hoping my college students by now do realize you have to fill the FAFSA out every single year. Just because you got money last year doesn't mean you're going to get money this year. Or just because you didn't get money last year, especially this time now with the new Simplification Act, there's a lot more money out there. So if you are a sophomore or a junior or whatever year you are in college and you didn't get any money last year, still fill it out this year, because a lot more people are going to be eligible to receive money. All right, so we got Jonathan here, 21 years old. Now, Jonathan was able to get $4,385. He's not married, no dependents. Now, Jonathan lives in a household of 4. So that means that he's got 2 parents and probably a brother or sister. Listen to their annual income. His household brings in $80,000, and they have $30,000 in assets. So we're looking at a family that is around middle class, still getting $4,385. So that, again, for the year, split that in half, it's going to cover a big portion of community college. So still want to keep that in mind. If you have household incomes of 80 grand, you still may be eligible to get some money. All right, so let's do this. Tamara. Now, Tamara is a 44-year-old lady. Doesn't matter if you're a 44 lady or man, whatever it is you are. FAFSA has no age limit. It doesn't have any type of GPA limit. There's no limit on who can fill out the FAFSA as long as you're going to school. This money is not available if you're not going to school. You do need to go to school somewhere. Now, listen to what she got. This is so interesting. No, you don't get it for free. You do have to be going to class and actually stay in school and get some grades. So this lady married 3 kids. So that's a household of 5. Tamara and her spouse have an annual income of $60,000 and $20,000 in assets. And she gets $10,000 a year in child support. So we're looking at someone with, here I go with that trying to do math on air. I think I got this one right, though. 90? Yes. 6 plus 2 is 8 plus 1. Okay, $90,000. So we're looking at a household with around $90,000, and she's still got a full Pell Grant. Now, keep in mind, she's married. She has 3 dependents, so it's a household of 5. She's still getting child support, apparently, for one of those dependents, but she still was able to get $7,395. My suggestion is for anyone out there going to school, if you're not sure if you're eligible for the Pell Grant, fill it out. That's the only way that you're going to be able to find out if you are eligible. So you don't have anything to lose by submitting it. It's not like they're going to penalize you if suddenly you realize, okay, you're not getting any Pell Grant money. No, the college is not going to say anything different. The only thing that it will do is reduce the amount of money that you owe. So it's very, very important for you to understand you don't have anything to lose by filling it out. All right, so now it still says, not sure if you're eligible. Again, don't guess. Find out by completing the FAFSA. All right, I think I have gone through everything on this page. I do want to, here's something. It says tips for completing your FAFSA form. Now, if you're wondering what site am I on, studentaid.gov. studentaid.gov. Or just Google FAFSA gov. It's really, you can't miss the thing. Just make sure you're on a site that ends in .gov, so that way you know that you're on the correct site. All right, let's see. What do we have here? This is talking about creating a studentaid.gov account. I've talked extensively about how to create your student aid account. And that is basically your SAI ID. Here's what you're going to need. So, your social security number, your own email address. There's going to be a few other things that you need as well, but so far, as long as you have your social security number and an email address, then that's a great way to get started on how you create your ID. It's very important for you, students, you, mom, you, dad. Everyone is going to need their own ID. Okay, so there's things that parents will need to fill out. There's things that students will need to fill out. You must have two, at least a minimum of two IDs. Now, I say a minimum of two because in some situations, both mom and dad may have to fill the thing out, or both mom and stepdad, or, it's a whole lot of different things. But anyway, get on there and you'll be able to kind of scroll through some things to see what you need to do. And I'm also going to give you plenty of resources today where you can get some help. And I have a huge announcement. The whole reason why I wanted to make sure we came on air live today is because I wanted to announce the Pinellas County FAFSA event. They're going to be having another FAFSA event June 1st. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and skip to that. I always put my stuff in order, and then I just want to go skip around and make stuff hard on myself. But the reason why is because I know I'll get through the whole show and forget to say anything about it. So I am now on the Pinellas County School Board.org site. So PCSB, big shout out to Pinellas County. Absolutely love the organization that the county has in regards to really helping to educate students and families in regards to the college application process. So certainly want to say thank you. Hillsborough, we're coming along. But Pinellas is the one that has the FAFSA completion and college and career mini fair. So it says right here on their site, pcsb.org, how you can register. You can download the event flyer. It's June 1st, so it's next Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon, and it's at Hollins High School. So I really wanted to make sure that Bezel and I stayed here today to make sure you know about that event, because pretty much everything else you really could Google. But you can't Google things you don't know exist or don't know that's happening. So if you live in the Tampa Bay area, my suggestion for you would be to go to the completion event, the FAFSA completion event. They're going to have people there from different colleges, different guidance counselors. There will be people there who can help you. And if they can't help you, then they can hopefully point you in the right direction of where you need to go. Oh, I wanted to look at, and please, before you go to a completion event or before you go to try to get virtual help, make sure you create that FSA ID. That is so important because you want to be able to let that that's why you have a whole week. You have a whole week to create your account, to create your FSA ID so that when you go next Saturday to Hollins High School, you'll have everything that you need to actually get started doing the FAFSA. You don't want to go to a completion event to create your FSA ID because that's the easiest part. And, that really is where you just need your name, your email, your social security number, just very basic information. So you want to get that done on your own so that when you go to the event, that's when you can ask your questions and get the help you need. All right, so there is a checklist. It says the free application for federal student aid has been overhauled this year. Please review the checklist. So let's see what we got if we click on this. Whoa, we're not going to go through all that. But you can see this is what I was talking about in regards to who needs to create the FSA ID. And it depends on the dependency status question. So again, there was all sorts of graphs and things that you can go through. I know I'm making this sound hard, but it's not. It's not difficult. It's just something you have to do. All right, so I'm going through the bottom of this. But this is basically if you are more of a non-traditional family. Maybe you live with your stepmom or stepdad. Maybe your parents aren't married, or maybe they're married but they're separated. Or maybe you think you're independent, but you're really not. You still need your parents' information. That's when you kind of have to go through a little bit of extra paperwork. But for those of you who are just in kind of, it's a married couple, 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever, very, very simple, straightforward. You're going to use the information from your taxes. Now, I mentioned that word taxes, and maybe some of you out there are thinking, well, I haven't done my taxes yet. Well, guess what? It does not matter. Well, it matters. I mean, you should do your taxes, but it does not matter for right this second, because for the 24-25 FAFSA, so that means for the school year coming up in the fall, you're only going to need your 2022 taxes. Now, most folks out there, you've at least done your taxes from 2022 because this is 2024. So that is why that was a change that the federal government made a couple of years ago, because people hadn't. They weren't getting their taxes done in time. So it was causing problems. So they were like, okay, we're going to give you like 2 years. So that means you can use your prior taxes from 2022. That's what you're actually supposed to use. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about what the Better FAFSA is, what students and their families need to know. Talked a little bit about this. The U.S. Department of Education is making transformational changes to the free application for federal student aid. It's an application that everyone needs to fill out. Now, here's the thing. You need to fill this out for your federal student aid, such as your federal grants, and sometimes your state grants as well. Not in the state of Florida, but in a lot of the other states, they will require you to fill out the FAFSA as well. Florida actually uses the Florida application in order to get some of the Florida grants, such as Bright Futures. But that's the FFAA. We'll go through that at a later date, which we will definitely go through that in July timeframe, because it needs to be done before August. I'm off on a tangent again. Let me get back. Sorry. Come back. All right. So here's the deal. Federal student aid for federal grants, work study. If you are interested in work study in college, you are going to need to fill out the FAFSA. And then, of course, some of your federal loans. But keep in mind, the FAFSA is required for all of those different things, whether it's work study, whether it's grants, whether it's, some people do have to get student loans. It can also be tied to your merit-based scholarships with your other colleges. A lot of colleges want to make sure that every student exhausts all of the federal aid that they're eligible for in regards to the grants or the work study or whatever before they give you additional funding. So that's why a lot of your schools, even though you're getting a scholarship, they want to make sure that if you're eligible for the federal money, that you get that and you use it, because then that's less money they have to give you. So a lot of scholarships can still also be tied to the FAFSA, no matter what your income is. All right, so it says the Better FAFSA is simple and streamlined. Let's It's going to be, trust me. It's easier to fill out. A lot of people can finish this thing in like 15 minutes. It gets a little hung up in certain circumstances because some people's parents may not have a social security number. Some students may not have a social security number, but there are still some instances where you can still fill it out. So sometimes it takes some people a little bit longer. Maybe the dependency questions maybe get a little wonky. But for most people, it takes around 15 minutes. So I'm talking about 15 minutes of your time. If you're watching me right now, you're really not doing that much. So I'm thankful you're watching me, but I would rather you go pull up a computer and you can keep watching me, but I would really rather you spend the next 15 minutes getting your FAFSA done. All right. So if you're just home, maybe you're cleaning, maybe you're watching, maybe you're just flipping the channels and you're like, who in the world is this person talking crazy about the FAFSA? It's me. If you haven't done the thing, spend the next 15 minutes doing it. Now, and here's why. 7.1 million total students expected to be eligible for the Pell Grant. That's 1.7 million more students. Free money. And again, the other stat, 665,000 more students who will get some amount of the Pell Grant. All students will be able to access the maximum financial aid for which they are eligible. You will not know what you're eligible for until you fill it out. When should you fill it out? You should have filled it out January, but it's okay. Maybe you just didn't get around to it. Maybe you just graduated, you weren't thinking about any of this stuff. Fill it out today. Fill it out now. Because the process really started for schools, March, April timeframe. And in July, the schools are really trying to get, the government is really trying to get the awards out starting July 1st. So it's not too late. I'm going to talk briefly about the June 30th deadline. Many people hear June 30th and they think, oh, I missed the thing. You did not. The June 30th, first of all, there's all kind of deadlines, different deadlines for schools, for federal governments, for state governments. So keep in mind, everything in regards to deadlines, you have to make sure that you are looking at your school on their site to see what their deadline is. But in the overall arching process of FAFSA itself, the June 30th, 2024 deadline pertains to last school year and this summer. So if you're going to summer school, in some situations, you will need to fill out the 23-24. And that is the one that closes June 30th of 2024. Now, if you're going to school in the fall of 2024 or in the spring of 2025, then the FAFSA closes June 30th of 2025. So, don't get all caught up. I mean, today is only March 25th, so you have plenty of time before June 30th. But whatever, maybe you're having a good time today, you forget, then you look up and it's the 4th of July. And because it was Memorial Day when I was yelling at you and now it's the 4th of July, maybe it's going to dawn on you and you're like, oh, shoot, it's past June 30th. I didn't do it. It's okay. It's best to do it now, but understand that it's goes off of various years and various deadlines. So it's not ever too late unless all the money's gone. But we just saw how much money got left on the table. So, as soon as you can get it done is when you can find out what you're going to be eligible for. I don't want ever anyone to say, oh, it's past June 30th, it's too late. That's just not true in most situations. Now, it may be true for your school, depending on what school you're going to, depending on a particular four-year university. They have a lot more different rules. But for a lot of your community colleges, even if you're going to summer school, it still isn't too late. All right, so let's see the checklist. Are we looking at the screen here, Bezel? Let me know. So we have the checklist for students to access and fill out the 2024-25. Create a studentaid.gov account. And that's where you're going to need to create your FSA ID. That's where you're going to need your social security number, unless you are a citizen of the freely associated states. And I'm not going to get into that because if you are that, then you probably already know and most of us are not that. So we're going to just talk about needing your social security number. Also, make sure your contributors. Who are your contributors? Typically, it's your parents or your guardians. They are going to be the people who also need to create their own studentaid.gov account. And it's simple. I'm going to click right here and then I'll come back to this sheet. We're looking at just a very, very easy thing to do. Click on Get Started, and this is all at studentaid.gov. Click on Get Started. What you can do with your account once you create it. Obviously, you're going to fill it out, fill out the FAFSA. It will allow you to review what federal student aid that you've received or that you're eligible for. So you will need to have I'm going to get out of that because that was a little confusing. But you are going to need to have a social security number and an email address. So that's going to be very important for you to make sure you take advantage of. Okay, so let's go back to where I was, even though I know it is somewhere. Where'd it go? Not there, not there. Create an account. See, that's why I hate when I click on stuff and then I get myself lost. But all right, give me a second here. Where was I? I was here and I clicked into that. I'm looking for, there it is. All right, back to my PDF. So we're going through the checklist here. You're going to create your own FSA ID at studentaid.gov. A contributor, meaning your parents, your spouse, for those of you out there who may be married, a contributor could be your spouse, but I'm talking mostly to my first time going to college students. So your contributor, typically your parents. Now, you're going to have to invite them to fill out the form. You're going to need to provide their first and last name, their social security number. If contributors do not have a social security number, they can still create a studentaid.gov account to complete their section of the form. That's where people have been kind of having some hangups and some issues over the past few months. But those kind of kinks are relatively worked out. I mean, every situation is different. But if it hadn't worked before, try again. Date of birth, email address, very, very important. You are going to need an email address. And then your documents. See what I said about the forms? Have your documents ready and be prepared to complete the form in one session. You're going to need your tax returns. Well, if you're a student, you're like, I don't have a job. Okay, well, then you're not going to need your tax returns, but your parents will need theirs. So let me make this a little bit bigger. 2022 tax returns. So, if you haven't done your taxes, the April deadline, April 15th is long gone, and you, for whatever reason, still haven't done your taxes, you don't need this year's. You only need 2022. Now, you're going to need records of if child support's received, current balances of cash, savings, and checking accounts. So, not a lot of information is needed to get this done. Okay, so let's go back up here. And we talked about the unclaimed financial aid that could cover a substantial portion of your college expenses. Want to make sure I keep saying that over and over again. We looked at our toolkit. Now, let's talk through some of these myths. We only have a couple minutes left here. I think we already passed our time, aren't we, Bezel? Bezel says you say that every show, and then you end up talking for 4 hours. Well, I mean, I just want to make sure people get what they need. Okay, so the free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, for the 2024 academic year has some common myths that can mislead students and parents. Here are some of the myths. Myth: only students with good grades get financial aid. That is not true. It may be true for some scholarships, yes, but for the free application for federal student aid, this is the first time where your grades don't matter as long as you graduated. And if you are, maybe you haven't been to school in like 20-something years, so, your grades are wherever. Grades do not matter for the FAFSA. Fill it out. Financial aid eligibility is primarily based on financial need rather than academic performance. Now, don't get me wrong, because it says it right here. While some merit-based scholarships, they may require good grades, federal financial aid programs like the Pell Grants do not consider your GPA. If you graduated, thank Lottie, then you can still potentially get a Pell Grant. All right. As long as you got out of school, fill it out. Grades don't matter. Myth number 2, and this one just irks the heck out of me. It says myth number 2, you can't apply for the FAFSA if your parents make too much money. That is a myth. Here is why that is a myth. No, I don't qualify for a Pell Grant. Yes, I am required to fill out the FAFSA by my son's school, Tennessee State University. Because guess what? They want to make sure anybody up in there is not eligible for federal money before they give you money. So, although, no, I know I'm not going to get a Pell Grant, I still have to fill the thing out. It doesn't matter how much money you make. You should still fill it out, especially if your student is going to school on any type of a scholarship. My son is on scholarship with the Levi Watkins program. I guarantee you, if I don't have that thing filled out before the school year starts, I will be getting a phone call. They want everyone to fill out the FAFSA. It does not matter how much money you make. Okay, another myth. It's for grants, not loans. No, there's multiple things you can do. The Pell Grant is what I'm trying to get you to get. That's the thing that's like $7,300 of free money. That's what I'm hoping you get. But there's work study opportunities. If you are going to work on campus and have work study opportunities, the way to do that, FAFSA. And then there are some who will need to get loans. But the FAFSA is still the gateway to those different funding sources, to those different loans, to those loans that, may have better interest rates, or they may have, interest rates that don't kick in until a certain amount of time. It's all through your federal free application for federal student aid. All right, myth 4. Now this one's interesting, and it's a little difficult because typically if you are an independent student, something has happened. But in some circumstances, you're still going to have to use your parents' financial information. It just totally depends on the situation. But it does say independent students typically do not need to report their parents' financial information. However, the criteria for being considered an independent student, the criteria is very strict, and it includes factors such as age, marital status, military service, and whether the student has dependents. So, you just because you and your parents got in a fight and you went and started living with your friend, that does not make you an independent student. You are still going to need your parents' information. So it is typically a status that a school will help say that a student is. So you can't just claim being an independent student just because you and your parents don't talk, or just because, your parents don't want to give you any money. You are still going to have to some kind of a way convince them to still fill out the FAFSA, because as your parent, it's required. It is not required for your parents to pay anything. It is not required for your parents to give you a loan. It is not required for your parents to sign for any loans, but it is required for your parents to fill it out. So it hurts my heart so bad when I see students who do want to go to school and they've done their part, but for whatever reason they can't get their parents to do the other part. And my heart truly, truly goes out to you. But you're going to have to figure out how to get them to do it. Maybe you can talk to a grandparent. Maybe you can talk to a friend. Maybe you can get a guidance counselor from your school or a teacher from your school. You've got to get someone to talk to your parents to help them understand the urgency of them doing their part, them creating their FSA ID. Maybe what you need to tell them is, hey, I know you're not going to pay for school. The only way I'm going to get this loan is if you actually do your FSA ID and you're part of the FAFSA, so I, as a student, can get the student loan. That might work, that part. But in any case, just because you think you're an independent student doesn't mean your parent doesn't have to fill it out. All right. Now, this one's another little tricky one, but it's a myth still. Only U.S. citizens can apply for the FAFSA. And see, that was what I was talking about before about the other places where some people live. So it says non citizens who meet certain criteria, such as having a green card, being a conditional permanent resident, or having an arrival departure record known as a I-94, can also qualify for federal student aid. I would suggest that you get help with that. That is certainly not my expertise, but it is an available option for some of you who may be watching. Another big, big myth. Woo, you did it. Woo, you don't have to ever do that again. Woo, that's a myth. You have to do the FAFSA every single year you're in school. So your freshman year, undergrad, yes, every single year. Maybe you're going to go to grad school, yes, every single year. Maybe you're going to get a PhD or go to medical school, yes, every single year. Maybe you have a family and it's been 20 years and now you're going to go back to school, yes, every single year. You have to fill the FAFSA out every year. Each time you're trying to go to school, the FAFSA must be completed each academic year to stay eligible for federal student aid. And the reason why, obviously, is because you want to have the reflection of your most current financial situation. Now, here's one that everybody's saying, oh, it's just too hard, it's too difficult. It can seem complex, yes, but many resources are available to help. And I'm going to make sure that I try to cover some of those resources and availability for you. The easiest one is the actual studentaid.gov site. They have like a live chat and everything else to help you. Myth. You don't need to fill out the FAFSA if you're only interested in state or school financial aid. Now, in some states, like Florida, that actually could be true. But many states and many colleges use FAFSA information to determine eligibility for their specific financial aid programs. If you don't complete it, you may be missing out on some additional aid. I would get this question all the time. I'm going to get Bright Futures. Do I have to fill out the FAFSA? No, you don't have to. But in order to get your Bright Futures, you have to fill out the FFAA. But the school that you're going to may still require it for other types of financial aid or for other types of information that they want to gather about their students. So no, you don't have to fill it out for Bright Futures, but that's a whole separate state system. Most states and most colleges will want it filled out. You may be wondering, what's the holdup? Maybe you haven't gotten your financial aid package. Maybe you're looking at your numbers and they're like astronomical. There could be something just kind of wrong with your whole situation right now, even though you've applied to school, you've gotten into school, you're ready to go to school. Sometimes it could be the FAFSA. Maybe you haven't done that. Sometimes if you don't do it in time, because schools have their own deadlines, just because the whole June 30th thing, June 30th, 2025 for the 24-25 school year, that's the federal, it's not even a deadline. It's just when it will close. But states may have a certain deadline. Schools may have a certain deadline. Don't miss the deadlines because sometimes you could miss out on your money, miss out on a scholarship that doesn't even have anything to do with the Pell Grant. So again, so important. Now what? Myth number 9. Your financial aid award is fixed and won't change. That's not true. Your financial aid can change from year to year based on changes in a family's financial situation, federal and state funding levels, and college costs. It's important to submit the FAFSA annually, every year, got to do it, and to report any significant changes in circumstances. The FAFSA is only for recent high school grads. I think that we've all established the fact that that is not true. Students of all ages, including returning adult learners, can apply for financial aid. I was so excited before I left my school. I had a teacher that I convinced to fill it out, and he was thrilled at the fact that he probably still going to have to get a loan, but just the fact that he could qualify for a student loan that has those reduced interest rates and interesting payback timelines. So, even if you're an adult with a full-time job, making good money, but you're going back to school, fill the thing out. You just won't know what comes up until you fill it out. All right, now I've talked a little bit about filling it out. I am going to talk just for 2 seconds about the 7 things to do after you submit it. And I'm going to run through these kind of quickly because my goal here really is to make sure you filled it out. For those of you who have already filled it out, check for the confirmation. You might think you filled it out, but unless you have some confirmation details, it may not have gone through. And that's the reason why, some things are getting hung up for people. So go in, log back in using that FSA ID, check for your confirmation. Review your submission summary. That submission summary is going to give you a lot of information. If the information that is showing you makes no sense, well, you may have made a mistake. So log back in, make any corrections. For the longest, for the new one, you couldn't log in and make corrections. Well, that has now been solved. You can definitely go in, make whatever corrections you need to make, and resubmit it. Complete your state's aid application. That's what I keep talking about with the FFAA for Florida. That's for your Bright Futures, and it's for a whole lot of other Florida grants, the grants that are available through the state. There's even like a teaching grant. So even if you're not going to qualify for Bright Futures, you should also still fill out the FFAA. I'll talk about that in a different show, though. Okay. Compare schools and the out-of-pocket cost. Apply for scholarships, and then, of course, watch for your financial aid offers. So very, very important that even though you think you finished it and you think you did it, go log back in, check for that confirmation. Super, super important. And I'm going to, again, give you the website I'm reading all this from. It's studentaid.gov. Okay, let's go back to my script here. Again, want to give a huge shout out to Pinellas County Schools. They are going to have a FAFSA completion and college and career mini fair. It is June 1st, 9 a.m. to noon at Hollins High School. Hollins is Hollins, Hollins High School. You will need to register. So if you are looking at the way to register, go to pcsb.org. But I know the way that Pinellas County is, they really want to help all students just get the thing filled out. So if for whatever reason you didn't get a chance to register, you can register at the door when you get there. So that is crucial. And that really is a main reason why I wanted to make sure we did the show today, even though we both probably want to be at the beach, but that's all right. We're here for you. Remember, I mentioned help. And I really looked in multiple places of where you can find that virtual help. And the best place is to just get it right off of the website. Ooh, look at this. Because when I tried earlier, it was closed because they don't open until 11. But I went to studentaid.gov and it says for the best live chat experience, please log in first. So that means you have to create your account, create that FSA ID. But I'm going to close that up so that you can see all of the available options. So if you just simply put in my URL, it says studentaid.gov/help center. So contact. You can put in FAFSA contact. You can put in studentaid.gov help. Federal. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can put in, or you could just maybe take a picture of the screen right now, and I'm going to show you. You can see the link. Okay, so there's a live chat options. That's where you have to log in. There is a phone number, 1-800-433-3243. I've had decent experience calling that number. Now, you're going to be on hold. I'm not even going to try to say you're not going to be on hold because you will. But they do eventually answer. And when they answer, even if it takes them like 30 minutes, I've been on the phone with them sometimes trying to help a student for 30, 45 minutes. But they stay with you until you get that problem resolved. So I really do encourage, if you have a situation with your FAFSA where you can't complete the form, call the number, get on the live chat. Now, I will say this: if you are trying to just figure out how much money you get, that's not going to help you. That phone number, the live chat, will not help you because your school, whatever college you're going to, that is going to determine the exact amount of money that you're going to get. So you once you look at the student aid index in your submission, that can give you an idea of about how much money you're going to get, but there's no need to call the 800 number to figure that out. But you do want to call the 800 433 3243 or click on the live chat when you have questions on how to complete your thing. For whatever reason, something's hung up, it won't let you submit, it won't let you sign, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what documents you need, call them up. It's once you go to the site though, and even just using the little owl here on the left, it's the virtual assistant, you'll be surprised at how much you can actually get done all by yourself. So I think that we are coming to the end of our show. I'm checking my text messages here to see just in case there is any particular thing important that anyone may have been texting me. Oh, no. I thought it was something pertaining to flag football, but it was not. I do want to go back to the shout out. Oh, if I can find the picture again. Yes, there it is. I certainly hope that you've enjoyed the show in regards to just some of the information out there about FAFSA, how to find information on FAFSA. Remember, FAFSA. Google it, find the help that you need, fill the application out. I am going to give another shout out to the Saints. They are the Rise Flag Football Girls League national champion. Well, no. They're not national champions yet. They are invited to the national championship game. So they won last night. They'll be going to the University of Maryland in July. I love these girls. They're all in middle school from either 7th to 8th grade. Absolutely great experience. Remember, flag football can lead to scholarships for girls now. It looks like that's it. I know Bezel's ready to get out of here, head to the beach. I am too.